This is a news analysis of Charlie Kirk shooting, what's verified, what isn't, and the practical security takeaways.
It's a symptom of a culture in which everything is live streamed and every moment is analysed, debated, and often manipulated by people who no longer trust anything.
That's the environment where claims spread faster than facts. So let's separate procedure from speculation.
If you spent any time at all online in the past week, you'll have encountered many about Kirk's and so-called evidence.
Yeah, I think it's a fine assessment. One of the problems is that at this point in time, from a medical legal perspective, we don't have any data to go on.
First, the evidence pipeline. In an active case, medical and forensic details aren't public immediately.
All we have are the speculative things that are floating about the internet. There are, by the way, not doing anybody any good here. We have a surgeon who was hands-on there that treated Charlie, and he even made reference, I believe, he said that Charlie was a Superman man of steel. In other words, what he's saying is the round passed through and it didn't strike anybody else, that the round, he's implying at least, did in fact embed itself in his body. Now, what the status of that round is, I don't know. We don't have an autopsy report yet either.
Translation: investigators hold details until they're unusable in court. Patience now usually means stronger case later.
Which is a huge problem if you want to speculate on wound tracks and these sorts of things. And there are people out there that are actually saying that there was not an autopsy performed, even though it is required by Utah state law. The state medical examiner is put into that position where they have to do the autopsy. So if this is some kind of grand conspiracy, you would have to get a surgeon on board that had no idea this was coming, and you would have to get the chief medical examiner for the state of Utah to agree to this, which seems very fanciful at the very least.
The autopsy thing is totally baffling. Why would there not have been one?
Yeah, look, most of the time, things are pretty much as simple as they seem. Right. And then and the other truism here is social media and the internet. I don't want to sound like a Luddite, but pretty much destroys everything it touches. Right. So the social media conspiracy theories started literally within a couple of minutes of people becoming aware that Charlie had been shot. Everything from this is a professional hit and the unwarranted confidence of people on the internet and in social media to push forward their ideas is astounding.
Second, the information problem. Social media plus AI makes confident claims look credible, even when they're not.
1 minute they're a Russian criminologist. 1 minute they're a pandemic expert. The next minute they're an expert on it. And if you combine that nature of human, tendency along with AI and deep fakes, it's no wonder that you disappear into social media and it's a cesspool. It is a sewer system. And that's where this young individual, disappeared into, right? So the idea, you always have to be careful. Every investigation has to be built on facts.
Good rule of thumb. If there's no source, it's a claim, not a fact. Ask for docs, timestamps, and provenance.
Right? On evidence, on information. And our tendency, because we want an immediate answer, because we've all been trained for that, and everybody's got ADHD, is they don't have the patience. And as was just pointed out, I agree with everything that was just said. You got to give these investigations time to sort themselves out. But that's not what people want. They want an immediate answer. And if you don't fill that void, they're just going to make crap up.
Everything that you've read, though, from more authoritative sources, is there anything ringing alarm bells? I mean, people have been talking about why did he leave the weapon wrapped in a towel? A lot of coverage about him running across the rooftop.
Third, the security lens. Preventable gaps show up in sightlines, rooftops, and perimeter control.
Would he be able to disassemble the rifle as fast as he apparently did, throwing it down his pants and jumping off the roof and so on? Is there anything about any of this which to you rings alarm bells or not?
No. I mean, again, that's it's a simplistic answer. And yes, the investigation's still ongoing. You never say never, right? You never, there's always going to be something that could surprise you.
Then we're checking the bushes. You're looking for little stuff like perfect circles and perfect circles, perfect squares, perfect lines don't exist in nature. So you're looking for scopes, you're looking for lines of a barrel, stuff like that. It should be locked down. And then, I mean, just even going back, speaking of conspiracies, going back to 9/11 with the plane hitting we have one camera on the most secure area in the world. Why is it now in 2025 we got grainy footages of a dude who might not be the dude? Where's I mean, you got people with this technology all over the place. Everyone's got a camera in their hand. Why is it we get one grainy footage of a dude that looks like someone's son? It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you go back to was Jack Ruby just a great American because he killed Lee Harvey Oswald while he was saying he's a patsy, or was he a patsy? Who's involved and why? And it's again with and just because of I'm talking here next to my phone, the algorithm's listening to me. It's going to start shifting all this conspiracy stuff so I can look at it when I'm scrolling through my phone. So it's very important to realize what's real and isn't real. But it seems to me like nobody's really been fired or gotten a lot of trouble for stuff that's happening. That I mean.
There were a lot of people out there filming this.
Exactly. Multi-angle footage and a synchronized timeline would answer most of the public's questions.
We have yet to see all of that data from multiple perspectives, all the way around 360 degrees from that specific point at that moment. No one was expecting this. And as the old adage goes, the camera never blinks. When all of that is compiled as well, that's going to be another piece to this that we don't really have a view of at this point in time.
Then the golf course fiasco, which was so close to him being killed. I mean, that guy was in that bush for 12 hours. One Secret Service agent happened to spot the barrel sticking out of a bush. Otherwise, Trump was up there in 5 minutes and would have been killed. But I still see him appearing at a lot of quite big public things where the security around him immediately in that vicinity seems a little bit perfunctory. Given the climate we now operate in and given what's happened before, do you worry about his security?
I'm not worried about his security. I know the Secret Service is competent as long as we keep people on the detail that are there for performance alone. And by that, I mean people who are taller than the principal, this being the president of the United States, and people who've done it before. You don't need to pick up a bunch of people from a desk just so eventually they can get promoted. It needs to be competence alone. He's going to have threats out there. They know exactly, they being the Secret Service, know exactly where he's going weeks in advance. They have a different advanced trips. They're going there, talking to the locals, getting all the stuff secure. Yeah, I don't worry about him right now, but they need to be smart about it. The realization that so far, to include Charlie Kirk, they've run into amateurs who are on rooftops. When they run into a real sniper who's not trying to camouflage what's in front of him, but what's way behind him, to make it almost look like it's two-dimensional to someone looking for him in binoculars or a spotting scope, it could get, but you need to keep your perimeter tight.
Final piece, best practices, not blame. Start inside, lock the perimeter, and control elevation and sight lines.
Start in, work out, and then keep the perimeter to a certain extent. You don't need to give them unlimited fields of access in places that have access. You need to have people there. It's that simple. This is really day one stuff that we're making a lot of.
What restores trust fast here? More footage, a clear timeline, or security changes. Drop your pick below. This channel stays policy over people. Keep it civil.